Should we put it on the official petition page? And if we get 50,000, they have to debate it in Parliament.
That would be brilliant. Yeah, let's get Beau Brummie and Belle Brummie. Let's get the Prime Minister talking about it. So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue, and this is another podcast where myself and Matt are going to be answering some questions that have been put to us by Birmingham City fans from a recent community post we put out. We did one of these a few days ago, and we've also got enough questions for another one as well. So if your question that you've asked doesn't appear in this podcast, or it hasn't been asked already, then it might appear in the next one. So I'm just going to go straight into the questions and see what Matt thinks. So Matt's first question is from Stephen Broadhurst. There is another related question from Danny Green. I'll summarise them and read them both out. So the question is, if we went through a bad sticky patch next season, how long do you think they would give Chris Davies, i.e., for example, promotion wasn't on the cards, and would they go for a big name? The next question from Danny is linked to that. He says, talking of the players who are at risk of leaving the club, if we don't do well next season, could Chris Davies be at risk of leaving us? I hope not. He's a great manager. So what's your thoughts on that, Matt?
I don't think Chris Davies... I mean, a sticky patch is hard to define, isn't it? Does that mean that we're kind of hovering around mid-table when now the expectations are playoffs and automatic? Does it mean that we're battling out the relegation battle? I mean, to me, a sticky patch kind of maybe resembles a bad run of form where you kind of go through maybe 3 or 4 losses maybe and you kind of drop down the table a bit. But Chris Davies is going nowhere, in my opinion. I would love to get him on a longer contract, by the way.
Yeah.
I'd love to secure him down for longer. But I think he has Knighthead's trust and support. I think Tom Wagner sees the value he's bringing. I mean, look at the football we've seen, Dad, over the past 12 months. It's been absolutely mind-blowing. I don't just love the style of football we're playing. I love Chris Davies. In interviews, he carries himself well. He's very professional. You can see with all the behind-the-scenes video, he has the respect of the players. The players are all fighting for each other. When was the last time we had a Blues team, Dad, that when it all kicked off on the pitch, they were all in having each other's backs and fighting? That, to me, comes down to Chris Davies. So I realise I've gone the long way around and sort of waffled a little bit there, but I don't think Chris Davies is in any danger of being sacked or going anywhere, even if things went a little bit south, and I wouldn't want him to either. This thing takes time. We don't want to become the new Watford, do we? You know, swapping your manager every couple of months. You know, we don't want to be that team. We need stability, and that starts with having the concrete foundations, and the manager's a big part of that. I hope we're locking down a longer contract, but yeah, I mean, who knows what's in the board's mind ultimately? We don't have that information, do we? But no. So there was the second part. So if we don't do well,
same question.
Yeah, I think I got a pretty big overview there. I don't think we're at risk of losing him either in terms of if we did bad. I think he has Knighthead support. I've seen clips of him, Dad, saying about how involved the owners are. You know, Tom Wagner, how Craig Gardner gets involved as well. And I feel like there's a good relationship formed behind the scenes there as well. And yeah. Well, genuinely love the guy. I think he's great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with anything you said, but Knighthead are in a hurry, and there's nothing. The most insecure job in the world is that of a football manager. Like I said, I do agree with what you said. I think Chris Davies has done a fantastic job. He's developing something really special at the club. But I don't think any manager in any club anywhere in the world is immune to being sacked.
Of course not.
So,
no, of course not.
It depends on obviously what the situation is. I can see Chris, and I hope Chris Davies is at the club a long time. But you know, if we're going through a really bad patch, and the board feel that it's not going the way they want to go, we've seen before they've been ruthless. You know, go back to our previous history. You know, we've got rid of managers who've done nothing wrong. This is under previous ownership. Gary Rowett, he was sacked. John Eustace, he was sacked, and that was under this current ownership actually. But Chris Davies is a different kettle of fish. I think they were very careful in the way that they recruit a manager that is someone that can develop a team, and obviously the players are now familiar with the way that Chris Davies wants to play, what they expect of them. So it would have to be something pretty dramatic.
Also, a big name doesn't always guarantee success, does it? We've seen that in the past as well. So, and Chris Davies is very experienced. Fair enough. I know this is his first manager role, but he's been in football, involved in football for a very long time, and you can tell the way we play football and the way he sets Blues up. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. But you're right, Dad. I guess you're right. I guess the question's very valid. You know, if we did drop down the table, you know, if we let's say we were in 6th and then suddenly 8th, 12th, 14th, 16th, who knows what would be on the board's mind? But you know, ultimately, it's about context, isn't it? Why are you getting those results? It's hard to predict, it's hard to tell, but I think Chris Davies is fantastic, and I want to see him around for a long time.
Yeah, I think we will. But as I say, he has got. I think he's doing a fabulous job, and I would love to have him there for a long, long time.
Do you think the song's true? He's taking us to the Premier League.
I do. I really do think it's true. But football moves fast, doesn't it? And things happen, and you just can't. You don't know. But the other thing could happen as well. Is we do that well. You could like Kieran McKenna.
Yes.
He could get linked and probably potentially
Chelsea,
picked up.
And if Tottenham came in for him with his previous club.
Yeah, exactly. But let's hope we keep him. Let's hope he continues to do well, because I think that he's the type of manager that could be there for a long, long time and really take us to where we need to be.
Yeah.
Premier League. Okay, next question, Matt, is from Foggy. Thanks, Foggy. Always engaging with the channel and commenting. So here's the question. My question is, now that we have time to see the additions come in, do you want to reconsider your original season finishing position? But there is another question. I love this handle. Neil Orange Peel gave a similar question. We all have ideas about what to expect next season: playoffs, consolidation, promotion. What do you think Knighthead will find acceptable given their ambition? That's a great question. So 2 parts to the question. One is, do you want to reconsider what you thought at the beginning of the season? And the second question from Neil was, what would Knighthead see as acceptable?
I do want to reconsider, but it's nothing outlandish or wildish. So I predicted us to nab the last playoff space in a previous video. Do you remember, Dad? I said 6th. I'm now putting us up to 4th. So we're still playoffs, but I've moved us up 2 positions. So I think we'll finish 4th in the playoffs. I mean, do you want to answer that part and then we'll go over to the second part?
I think you'll end up, watch yourself, you fall off your fence.
I've moved us up.
You moved at 2 spaces.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no different really, is it? It's the playoffs.
That's a massive difference between 4th and 6th in the Championship.
I said on the last podcast, because we had a similar question, I have changed my mind, because at the start of the season, we both said we just wanted a competitive season where we would consolidate. But based upon the signings, I said in the last podcast that I have reconsidered, and I think that we should make the playoffs. That was my comment. I obviously stand by that, because that was only a few days ago. But I think the signings have changed everything.
Well, in your prediction video, Dad, you said 5th or 4th. Where's that gone now?
It's gone to possibly challenging for automatic.
To 2nd or 3rd, maybe.
Well, 2nd's automatic, isn't it? 3rd's playoff.
Challenging though is
yeah. So I think we're going to be right at the top end of the table.
That's the same position shift as me.
I know, because I said at the start of the season that I'd be happy with a mid-table or above. Right. I think we both said that. I don't think we talked about. We might have talked about specific positions. Yeah. Maybe I'm on the fence. I'll go back and look at the podcast, and maybe we're both contradicting ourselves here. But I think in seriousness, I think that with the signings we've made, we have to be expecting a good season. Yeah. And going back to the second part, I think that sort of answers the question from Neil as well about what Knighthead want. Knighthead are going to want promotion.
I agree. Or at a minimum, an attempt at the Premier League. So for me, that means playoffs.
Yes, but
I think they would be happy with a playoff position.
Yeah, they would be, but to win the playoffs.
Yeah. But my point is, even if, again, let's just say, jumping the gun here, we get to the playoffs, we get to the final, let's say, and we just lose to the better team on the day. I'm just putting a scenario out there. I don't think they would be too upset with that, because we've proven that and then we'd build on it for next season. Just my opinion. But they are going to want promotion, Dad. They're not hanging around.
Yeah. Knighthead are going to want promotion. If you look at the quality and standard with players and the ones we're being linked with, it does suggest they want to have a proper push.
100%.
Again, we'll say this, and we know other fans from other clubs watch our podcast. We know this is not going to be easy, because this Championship is notoriously difficult.
Agreed.
And there's all sorts of things that factor into that. But if you look at the quality and the way, the momentum, the way we're building, we should have a good season. Mm-hmm. Now, this question is an interesting one, this next one, Matt, because it shows the diversity of the questions that we get when we put these community posts out. This is about Beau Brummie and Belle Brummie, okay? This is from Thomas Mason. Thank you for the question, Thomas. Basically saying you have a great platform. He's talking about the podcast. With that, you can make an impact to Blues. Together, the Royal Blue should start a petition to the board to get the real Beau and Belle Brummie back. I know many fans feel the same. Can you be the ones to change that? 1,000 signatures gets them talking in the boardroom. Now, I did a bit of research on it. In fact, I didn't. I think Richard Pincher, one of our regular commenters, put a link in one of his comments saying there's already a petition for this. And we'll put a link to this in the comments below the podcast. I think it's already got 300 signatures to it. Change.org, where people are actually have this petition to try and get the original Beau Brummie back. So I know this is a bit of it's not tongue in cheek because obviously Belle and Beau Brummie are big parts of the mixed day experience, aren't they?
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Let's get them changed back. It does my head in as well. They just look weird.
They just like bears.
They just they look odd.
Yeah, but when I say bears, I mean they just look like standard fluffy bears. Whereas
you want the big,
the original Belle Brummie, he's got the teeth and he's got.
You want the almost 4D looking dog's head, don't you?
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. And I remember we've always had a bit of a laugh and a joke in the cop car park, haven't we, Dad? When we're having our food or having a beer, we see Belle and Beau, and we think it's just not the same as the old days, is it? And it is annoying. It's not. As far as it's annoying, I'm not too sure, but it is definitely, you notice a difference. And no, I'm all for getting the original Beau and Belle back. I think it's a great question, and we will definitely try and attempt to do our best to see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the comments below. So if you go to the go below the video, there'll be a link to this change.org petition that's already exists. I think all you have to do is put your email address in because obviously you have to prove that you're a real person, and just get an acknowledgement from that to go on to that. So let's see if we can get that up to 1,000.
Should we put it on the official petition page? And if we get 50,000, they have to debate it in Parliament.
That would be brilliant. Yeah, let's get Beau Brummie and Belle Brummie. Let's get the Prime Minister talking about.
Imagine Keir Starmer talking about Belle and Beau Brummie. That'd be hilarious.
Okay, yeah, fantastic. A great question. Yeah. Okay, next question, Matt, is from FZ Flip the World. Fantastic handle. I'll put it again now, and I know none of us want to give up Chris Davies or our squad, but going into the Championship this season, if you had to pick any other team's squad than your own and team manager, who would you pick?
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to double my team and manager. I'd probably pick Ipswich and McKenna.
That's what I've done as well.
Yeah.
And if you're in this league as well, I mean, you wouldn't. I mean, it's a question where you think, I'm not going to pick anybody but my own. But if there was like, you had to pick one, I would do that as well. Yeah. I picked Ipswich as well because one, that they are the favourites to get promoted, and rightly so. But I remember them in the Championship the season before they got promoted, and they were excellent. They were really attractive team to watch when they, and I think very similar to what we're doing in terms of the way we're playing now. We are. It's not. They're almost like a blueprint for what we're doing. Yeah. We're playing similar football to them, but I love their when we played them, they were fantastic.
As we've picked the same, Dad, and I think Ipswich are an easy target. I'll pick a second backup as well, just in the interest of variety. I also think Lampard and Coventry have got a good project going on as well. I'll probably pick them as a close second, just because they're a team on the rise as well. So for me, Ipswich and McKenna definitely, but Cov and Lampard maybe slightly below it.
Yeah, I'll stick with Ipswich. Yeah, or Millwall.
Well, you joke. They did well last season.
No, I like. I know when we went to the Den season before last, absolutely loved it.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised with our away day at the Den, Dad. I mean, we lost in the last minute, but the away day was a decent experience, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Of course, we lost in the last minute. We lost a lot of games that season, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but okay, Matt. So the next question is from Richard Pincher, again regular commenter on the channel. Thanks for the question, Richard. And again, it links very closely to a question that we answered in the previous podcast, but there's slightly different context on it, so we'll go anyway. So talks about this is about the young talent. Do you expect any of the young talent to be involved in the first team on a regular or consistent basis? Said Bateka would appear to be the brightest young talent at the club right now, but as we know, the other young talent like Ramel Donovan was shipped out on loan and is subsequently sold.
Yeah, I think on the previous one, Dad, we answered about our academy system, and with the quality now in the first team, it makes that gap from the youth players being able to make that jump a little bit more difficult. But Richard's referenced a very exciting player for me, and I think if anyone could do it, maybe making a few appearances off the bench or an impact, it could be Bateka. He's a good player, isn't he? So I would say it's going to become increasingly difficult. I can't see many of them breaking in this season, but I would like to see more of Bateka.
I don't think we'll see him this season. I think that
do you think he'll be loaned out or stay in the youth team?
No, that's I think that's the question, isn't it? Because he's young, isn't he? Is he 17 or 18, something like that?
I think he's 18.
And, if he's going to be loaned out, it will probably be National League or maybe League Two. And that might do him some good, but I think possibly the club will keep hold of him and keep him in the development teams for a season or two.
I don't think loaning him out to those leagues always does them the world of good. Look at Ramel Donovan; he didn't do very well at Burton, but he was brilliant in the youth Brentford team. So sometimes it doesn't always work out in the lower leagues.
Particularly younger players as well. So I think they'll probably look after him and probably keep him in the development club. But I think that by doing that, by not loaning him out, and I think keeping the development squads, it will be, maybe he might get on the bench in a few games for a bit of experience, maybe a cup game, but I can't see him having too much of an impact at the moment in the first team.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, as I say, we did answer that similar type of question in the previous podcast, and it is an important question to talk about in terms of what are the club doing with our young talents, and how do we develop them so that they do become real assets for the club. Okay, last question for this podcast then, Matt. So this is from Pace UK 22. How should the club balance its focus on lifelong fans and the new fans? They're justifiably welcoming these new fans as a consequence of the astute commercial activities. So that is a great question.
It is a great question
because they're saying that, okay, we've got this core of fans, lifelong fans, but now we're attracting these newer fans. What does the club do to keep everybody interested, I suppose?
And when you look at Tottenham, Dad, not a lot of their fan base, sorry, that's incorrect, but there are fans that turn up on a week-to-week basis with cameras, and they've got bags full of shopping with all Tottenham gear, and they're clearly from another country. And again, I'm not criticising it, I'm just making a point that it becomes a bit more touristy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So when the club grows and the Premier League's on the horizon and the revenue streams are really, really high, you attract in new fans, but they're not necessarily those die-hard blue noses. They're the fans that are just there to get some merchandise, take some photos on their cameras, and then move on. With their holiday or whatever it might be. So I definitely think it's a very, very good question, and I think United have done a decent job of it, Dad. They do the open houses. They do the fan parks where people can socialise with fellow Blues fans. I guess that's dependent on you being able to get a ticket to the game. But I think doing community-based projects always helps as well, encouraging Blues fans to get involved, making links to the stadium as easy as they can, which we're noticing with the new build of the new stadium. I think all these things will encourage people to come. And, it's such a good question because obviously we don't have all the answers here in this room between me and you, but I think just trying to engage them in as many different ways as possible is always a good thing. And
I think this is the issue you're going to have now when now Blues are doing so well. They're definitely sort of there's real high demand for tickets, and therefore that means when you've got high demand but low supply, ultimately people are going to be disappointed. I mean, that is actually an economic driver to drive prices up, but Blues have said they're not going to do that with season tickets. But you need to try and find a way in which we can sort of maybe sort of engage with these newer fans, because they're attracting fans from all over the world now, and they won't all be coming to games, but maybe doing things where they're engaging the fans online, forums,
podcasts, various different things.
So there's lots of different ways, because as the club starts to grow, I mean, a lot of this will be solved with the new stadium, because it won't just be the stadium; it'll be the facilities around the sports quarter as well. There will be a venue for people to come to, and they can engage in different things as well as the football club. Definitely. So I think that will help to solve the problem when that eventually happens. But it is it's like Wrexham. Look at Wrexham; they've done really well over recent years. Their stadium has got a capacity of like 15,000 or something like that.
Not much.
Yeah. But they're attracting fans particularly from North America, Canada, Australia, and players like that. So, but these aren't fans that are going to come to every single game, obviously. So, what they're doing, they're selling merchandise, they're keeping them engaged. There's lots of the documentary, for example, which now we are about to start ours. There's lots of different ways. I'm sure that Nighthead will be focused on that. In terms of what do we do if we're attracting these fans? How do we keep them? How do we get them spending money?
Yeah,
that's what they want.
100%. And I think they're doing a very good job of it in terms of just spending money. I'm always seeing fans walk out with bags of and that's just a sign that the quality has gone up. Because they're doing quite good streetwear now as well. Hats and various other things in there.
I saw a picture on X today. Somebody had been to one of the shops in Oxford Street in London. There's a rack of Birmingham City shirts,
and that's it. Putting our merchandise in other areas of the country, the fact we're in London is pretty exciting, isn't it? The fact that they're thinking that they could reach a fan base.
We've got I think Sports Direct are now one of our outlets, aren't they? So the club are expanding all the time, but I think that's a question that needs to be addressed all the time as the club starts to develop and get more, the fan base, particularly outside of Birmingham, start to develop and increase. That's something they need to continually review about how do you engage with these new fans.
And it's such a balance, Dad, because fans should be rewarded for their loyalty with the club in terms of, we have the away status. If you do more games, you get a better chance of getting future tickets. I totally understand that. But then other fans sometimes feel a little bit alienated, don't they? That it's a closed shop. There's no chance of getting in. And with home tickets as well. How do they make sure it's a fair system? And I think those should be constantly reviewed as well.
It is a fair system, because if you're a fan that's supported the club all your life, you've been home and away, and you've paid a lot of money, you deserve to be first and prioritised, because you're the ones that have, so the lifelong fans. Yeah, even though newer fans might see that unfair, it's not unfair, because these people have been through thick and thin and been with the Blues all the years, haven't they?
No, I think the away status is fine. It's more for home games, when they do the cup schemes and making sure everyone can get a ticket to a league home game. And as I say, if we do go on a good cup run, how's that system the fairest it can be, so everyone can get a ticket? If that day comes when we get to Wembley again, who knows what is in the future for this club? I'm sure it's going to be very good. But yeah, I just think the systems, the various things that happen at the club need reviewing regularly to make sure they're not alienating fans and making sure there's a balance between revenue and getting fresh fans in, but also taking care of your loyal supporters, who are the bread and butter and the sole base of the club, aren't they?
I think that question alone, Matt, sort of shows you how the club have progressed. To ask that question, and I think a lot of fans would think that, okay, we're getting all these new fans now. How do we look after the existing fans? But also, how do we engage with and keep the newer fans as well? It just shows you the journey that the club are on now, and it's only going to increase.
Definitely.
So that's it. So that's the last question for this podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, we'd love to have your thoughts on some of the answers, maybe some of the responses that myself and Matt have got. If you've got a different response, then please add it in the comments below. As always, we hope you've enjoyed the podcast, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, then pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like to watch or listen to your podcasts on Spotify, you'll find us on there as well. And you'll see the handles appearing on the screen for all of these right now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already and you'd like to, then hit that red subscribe button. And if you press the little bell icon next to the subscribe button, you'll get notifications every time myself and Matt put a new podcast out. So hope you've enjoyed the podcast. And myself and Matt will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.